What's up, YouTube fams? Dark Angel's Journey. I'm Shakira. All right, I hope everybody enjoyed their long weekend. I know I did. Spend like pretty much the whole time trying to figure out, or maybe not figure out, but basically trying to relax. I hit a very serious like stress. Um, Everything is gone, inside of my body for trading. On Thursday, I just kind of went nuts. I'll show you guys. It's bad. I am I'm not ashamed, but I'm like very irritated with myself. If I grab my journal here, and I'll show it to you on TradingView too, but I think I took a grand total of, on the 25th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 trades. 12. You know what that says to me? I have a long way to go. A long way to go. Imagine if I was using real money, you know? So, the paper account I opened on April 17th with 20K is now down to 17,605. Oh, and I took I took, I don't know what I was going on. I don't know what was going on with me. I just couldn't settle, couldn't get settled. That my emotions were just all over the place, and I was just like, it's weird. In the afternoon session, the first trade I took was a perfect trade. I think half my problem right now is the my stop. I want it to be a certain amount, and like the first part of it wasn't that. And I just kept re-entering and re-entering and re-entering. If I just kept the first one, maybe put the stop where I was supposed to put it and just waited for it to go where I thought it was going to go, I've been fine. You know, like, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. So I went and had a float on Friday, and I spent the whole week away from the charts. I didn't look at anything, no ICT, even though I was really, really tempted. No joke, seriously tempted. And just breathed. Spent this morning meditating. I get like this tight feeling in my chest, but I'm gonna tell you right now, nobody's giving up. You know what I mean? I have a plan, I have a dream, and it's going to happen. Like, there's no way that this isn't going to be my reality. You know what I mean? No way. No matter what. I just know that these are these moments when you have to like find your zen, because I was not zen on Thursday. I was not zen, not even a little bit. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever felt like that. So these are the emotions and things that I need to recognize and work on. So like this weekend, I was like, wow, okay, Shakira needs to really focus and take a minute and like re revitalize. Because wow. And even now, I've meditated. I still have this feeling right here, but it's not going to stop me. I have a dream, and it is to work when I feel like it, to do what I want to do when I want to do it, you know, to have the financial freedom that I deserve, you know? And if that's a combination of working my regular job and doing this, or eventually doing this completely, then so be it. Extra money is good. Things are going crazy out here, y'all. Like, everything's more expensive. So if you can hear a kid eating, he's like pulling it all down. It's expensive out here. So I'm just like yesterday I wrote in my journal, 5:30, I'm going to tape read and get back into the groove. Follow the process. You are amazing. Just focus. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to tape read for a while. I'm not going to touch my paper trading account, even if I feel like it's going to be a good move, because I need to recalibrate myself, right? I need to get my mind right back to, oh, it's a good setup. Trust it. Because obviously I'm not ready, right? Obviously. Anyway, let's get super tiny before Kitty decides to come jump on my lap. All right, my screen's up here, so that's why I'm looking this way. So first things first, let me show you my silliness. Look at this. 5:25. Two losses in the morning. And then per my process, if I got one more loss, then I would have should have been done, right? So in the afternoon, 2:51. This is where I would have been fine, right? If I just kept it, put my stop, I could have ridden it. Like when I got this 250 right here at 1780. Sorry, hold on. At 4162. So when I entered here, I entered at 4154. No, 4153, right? So when I got this 250 here, 4162.25, that was me being stopped out because I was trying to see if it was going to go up higher, right? And I moved my stop up. And I should have left it there. And then I went right back in. What, like a minute later, just lose 109 and 12. And then about what, like 16 minutes later, a few minutes after that, another 112 loss. And then I made some of it, a little bit of it back, and then lost it again. It was just like stupid. It was just stupid, stupid, stupid. Look at this entry here. 4167, 4168. 4162 is where I got out here. So if I kept this one, this is on 520, that was at what? 4154. So let's go back to that day, right? Just for funsies. Kitty wants to do something downstairs. I do not know what. Do not know what. What is this? That's Friday? Thursday. Look at this silly, silly day. Silly, silly day. Anyway, so let's get on to like the 5 minute. All right, so this is 4153. This is where I entered, right? And it went up to here. And I just kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I got stopped out here, pretty sure, right? And if I just held like right here to right here, would have been fine. But I don't know what was wrong with me. Like I had a good setup, right? I had a nice like low, lower low shifted through. We had a nice breaker right in here, right? Bullish breaker right there. And in this general vicinity, on the 5 minute, we had this fair value gap. Just like reliving what I was doing with myself. Oh, I also upgraded my account so I can see the seconds because wow. I'm sorry, Kitty wants attention. I'm not giving it to him. So we have this breaker. So technically this top close candle is the breaker right here on the 5 minutes. So we had this breaker right there. And let's go down. So 4 minutes. So 3 minutes. And I have to remember like when it comes to an area. So we had a nice shift here. I'm waiting for something to come back down. 2 minutes. Right? And there was a volume imbalance in here on the 2 minutes right there. Beautiful. And I was taking something in here and then 1 minute. And the one thing I haven't done is check to see, because I took something in here too, got stopped out. So silly. I was just, I don't know, I was on a weird tear. So if I've been thinking about it, right, this order block inside the breaker would have been where I wanted to take the entry as I'm looking at it right now. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that just crazy? Because there's this order block. They were wicking, 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 doing crazy things in here. And generally, my stop should have been like below this guy. Like below the breaker would have been good. Below the order block, this wick here would have like taken me out. Then we have this shift right here. The question is, inside of this little tiny shift, did we have like fair value gap? We had this tiny one right here. After a shift, and they came back into it, and then my stop would have had to be below here. So Let's see. Oh my gosh, what is his problem, y'all? So if I'd been more patient and waited, it could have been here and waited for that, for them to dig a little bit into this. This 58 takes nicely, right? Nice, decent little run, right? Let me drop this here, put this here, right above there. Would have been right there. And did they touch it? Let's see, 4170. What's the high of this candle? 4170, 50. Oh my goodness. Right to the tick. Right there. Boom, boom. 61. And I was like, just losing my mind. Just straight up losing my mind. So weird. And then when you look at this fair value gap, well, there's no reason why they shouldn't rebalance to all of it. Like none. Like I'm slowly learning, you know? Like for example, this one, right? Like this fair value gap right here. If you look to the right of it, you had this rebalance right here. And then there was still a little bit left. And they came into it and finished up and then took off. Now that we're here though, I'm curious if I'd seen something more clear on the lower time frame. So let's drop to, actually, let me just drop to this little area here. And let's drop down to like the 15-second. Oh my God. Okay, so now on the 15-second, now we have like this significant shift. We have this fair value gap right here on the 15-second that I could have entered in under, right? Oh my God. And still inside the breaker order block right here. So I could have done this. And then what would my stop have been? I could have had my 8-tick stop. So after this shift, yeah, I could have my 8-tick stop from there, you know, been okay, and then ridden it right up. An even better entry, even more precise. Like that's what ICT's talking about, man. Like that's why I was like, oh my God, seriously, seriously, unbelievable. And then everything is already in line, right? Like they've taken out all of this, all of the stops, right? Made a shift, and then look, they showed us we're not going back up. We're not going back up. So then, higher lows, trust it and go. It really, really does make a difference. It really does. Oh my goodness. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. And even this short, like earlier in the day, earlier in the session, like it blasted up, then took out the short-term low, left this fair value gap right here. So, I mean, even a short entry from here, let's see, what would that have? Could I have gotten oh my God, look at that. 8-tick stop, right it back down to the breaker, into this fair value gap. That's all the way down here. 60 ticks, man. 60 blasted ticks. Oh well. What a world. I can't, I really, really can't even begin to explain the sheer amount of stress I've been feeling. And then even if you didn't take this guy, right? Like once it tapped that, we still had another shift here. Did it give us a fair value gap to work with? Yeah, this little guy right here. So even if you didn't trust that and you take in the base of that, yeah, would you have gotten filled? No, looks like. Looks like this one right there. Okay, not bad. Honestly, I'm gonna be using the heck out of these for realsies. For realsies. And if I was just aiming for that 54 ticks, beautiful. How long would that have taken us to get? Let's see. I love how everything's like hindsight. That 12 minutes of nail biting. And then this one, let's see. If we got our entry here and we're coming up here, somewhere in this general vicinity, 24 minutes. from 3 something. So if we press play here to sit through all of that nonsense. So like from a management perspective, like once it hit like halfway, then I have to put my stop like in in profit right here, just basically break even, right? So as it's dropping down here, right? We've got this order block, fair value gap. They took out sell side here, so you know, unless they take this out, then they're coming back down. If they don't take it out, then we're we're good to go. Oof. So I would have wanted to exit. I think I got stopped out here. I would have wanted to exit here. Oof. So that's coming in at about 330. We know the 350 macro has its thing going on, and then we would have been good to go right there. Let's see. Might want to go like one tick lower just to be sure it gets filled, you know? 15 seconds, bro. 15 seconds to see the proper structure. That's crazy. Anyway, so let me open up my new week opening gap and let's see what we've been doing. All right, so okay, let's use this one and go on the daily. Hold on. Where are all of my things? They have gone missing, y'all. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. There we go. Okay, so create ourselves a bit of a gap here, but the day is still forming, so and they're digging into this fair value gap a bit, taking out yesterday's lows already, and this is the new day opening gap from yesterday, all inside the new week opening gap. So they played a lot inside of here and then dropped down. Okay. So I'm just gonna hide that for a second. Let's see what we're looking at here. Let's go to the weekly. So we have this up here that I'm personally looking for them. I mean, they've basically been digging into this wick right here, but the volume imbalance, like this is where I think they're heading up into. So, 4,300, 4274. So any retracement back is not strange. They're almost to taking out this 4246, which is consequent encroachment approximately of that wick. So, and lots of other draws up here, more volume imbalances, fair value gaps that are unfilled. But right now, we're still thinking about what we want to do. It might hold us in stasis. What kind of news do we have coming out today? It's Wednesday. All right, so CAD's getting GDP. We have some not medium, some low level stuff. Then 10 a.m. web jolts. That'll make a little mini splash. We have some FOMC folks talking at 12:30, 1:30. And mildly volatile. Jolts will do some stuff at 10, so we'll see what it's gonna do. So maybe we'll see the afternoon session. Tape reading. We're gonna tape read this whole week and not touch it. All right, let's take a quick look at the seasonal tendency. So we are smack dab at June, where we see tendency. Let me take the 2-year off. Wow. So on the 5-year, bullish, 10-year bullish at this point. The 15-year shows a little bit of a decline, then bullish into from June into about I don't really know June, July, so maybe a portion of June is going to be bullish. But right now, we're for the longer years, we've just hit a bit of a mini downturn, which appears to be acting correctly. So we're in like a mini drop, and then early into June, potentially might move up. We'll see. There's a book I'm gonna read. The dude that was this some guy named Moore that did the Cecil Tendency ICC was talking about how amazing his stuff is. Anyway, so let's take a look here at what we've done. So we've just like hit the new week opening gap from 522. Let's take a quick look at the Dixie and then let's do some back testing with the seconds. This is supposed to be Dixie, so let's switch that out to Dixie. And Dixie's been on a tear, son. This is on the 1 minute. Let's look at its daily. Okay, so what's the draw? Let's look at the monthly first, see where we might be. Oh wow, I had done a little, so we have a premium fair value gap way up here that they could be reaching for. They're technically in a big consolidation on the monthly, and they came and tapped this order block. I think I did, yeah, right there, in the fair value gap, and then ran off. Take a look at the weekly. So they made a shallow run below this low. They need to take this out for it to continue to be bullish. Dang. But they're currently hanging out at this order block right here. And this is the bigger premium, so from a weekly perspective, this is what's really available. On the weekly, let's take a look at it on the daily. So on the daily, like this has already been tapped into, so it's just this smaller portion with this order block for them to dig into. Interesting. So on the daily, we've got low, lower, low, shifted through. So just for funsies on the daily, we've got this breaker, a daily a bearish breaker, and a fair value gap right in this vicinity as well. So we'll see. Well, all of this is the breaker. So there's a fair value gap that's been traded up into once. It wouldn't be weird for them to trade into it some more to rebalance it. Also, on the daily, we have this volume imbalance as a draw as well. They tapped here and dropped. So we'll see what they do. So let me specify. Technically, the lowest down close candle is it, so I guess I should leave it there, but so high, higher, high, shifted through, breaker right here. And let's see. With this shift, they actually, used the breaker. All of it stayed inside of the bodies for the most part, and then tapped that and then dropped it. So we'll see what they do when they come back in here. But for now, dollars on the daily looking semi-bullish. It's in like a holding pattern at this order block, so let's see how it behaves. Okay, let's open up my mesh. So I'm re-envisioning how I do this, right? So I'm going to use these as seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, so I can focus, and I'm going to have the higher time frame stuff on my lower screen. Good, he's eating more. Need him to gain lots and lots of weight. Okay, so I'm trying not to have too much on the charts the ones that I'm using, except for stuff like this, like this opening gap here. Well, I guess we should call it, just gonna do that right. That's the gap right there. So that's opening range gap from Tuesday. And we didn't have a similar behavior. Oh, when did that happen? Sorry, y'all. There we go. So some suggested things for yesterday, 3:45-ish. This breaker, fair value gap. Let's see, I was hoping for them to go all the way back up to this. They did not. They sort of just meandered about, then dropped again. Gave it another opportunity, came right back up. So all in all, let's take a look at that on the 1 minute. Okay, so from yesterday's, because I was thinking to myself, like, if I'm going to do this, I need to figure out what my entry would look like. 21.39, don't like it. I didn't like how much it would have had to have gone over. Because low, lower, low, traded through, breaker. So if we tap the top of the breaker, like at most, it went up to, what, like 25 ticks. It's not bad, but it's not where we want to go. And then let's see, what time is this? So now this is where I really want to like see what's up, because I had a breaker down here too. And this is where they dropped, they give me something for this nice run up here on the 1 minute. Hey, buddy. On the 1 minute, we had a shift up there. Zoom in on this puppy. So on the 1 minute, we had a shift here. No fair value gap in here. So let's drop into, let me take this off of this one. Let's drop into the 15-second and then come back over here. At this point in time. So I think I was, let's see if they would have given us something here. So I'd be missing all these opportunities. Yeah. So check it. Inside the breaker, we had this liquidity void, which they tapped. And this fair value gap, if I look to the right, they'd already kind of touched it with this order block right here. It's just a little bit left. But they did, give us the shift. Liquidity void right there. They tapped, rebalanced, and then took off. So this would have been a good place for an entry. And if I'd done it from here, at the top of the void, well, actually the order block right there, right? And then below, oh my goodness, look at that. Look at how precise I could have been. Because the open of this candle is 4202.50. The low of this candle is 4202.50. The low of this candle, 4202.50. The low of this candle, 4202.50. I mean, it is, if it's not algorithmic, I don't know what is. And then, aiming for like above here for them to come back into this guy. That's a nice 73 tick. How long on a 15-second would that have taken for us to get up to here? 29 minutes, 30 minutes of patience, y'all. Let's take a look at what the fib would have told us to do, right? Let's take that low. Well, the fib couldn't give me something from this low. Let's go back to, let's do this. Let's go to the 1 minute. Right. Look at that. Nothing to work with, but on the lower time frames, I mean, come on. All right, so take out that high. Let's drop a fib down here. I want to take out these highs right here. Low here, right there. Want to take out that high. Like, would I have held for that long? Because I wanted to have seen if it was going to take this out. Just kept going. Equal highs here. This probably would have been where I stopped, but then it was coming so close to the new opening thing, and it tapped back into the volume imbalance. I'm gonna try to hold. Look at that. Beautiful. All in, all in hindsight, and all I'm going to just be tracking as I get my mind right. Look at that. Wow. Just freaking wow. And then I was tracking this other one. Wow. Okay. Okay. Well, we're already 30 minutes into this discussion. All right, let's drop into our backtesting vids here and let's clear this out. And let's drop to the daily. And let's clean that out. Kitty is, so here's half the problem, right? We are, I don't know why it shows up on the weekly. So we are just about ready to take this high out. Great. Consequent encroachment of this wick. This is where we're heading, as far as I'm concerned. That's the draw. If we're going to do some sort of retracement back down, we need to take out this low right here. And then fly through some of this volume imbalance down here. But we've just been slowly making our way up. Very slowly, very painfully, very uncoolly. But anyway, so let's okay, these are weekly candles, right? So let's go back to the daily here. And as you can see, we've been enjoying the musical stylings of this range for quite some time. We've just sort of broken out of it, right? At the midpoint of the range. So understanding that, I'm going to just do this so I know that's where it's at. And then I'm gonna pick a day. Or should I just leave this on there? You know what, let's leave it on there. So let's pick a day. So how far can I go? Let's try for this day and see if we can't understand the downward trend and see what's up. Whoopsie, not what I wanted. Whatever, it's fine. Actually, let's go forward the 1 day because I want to see. So let's go to, what do we have on the 4-hour? I'm just curious about. Okay, so we have this, all of this stuff, order block up here, this fair value gap, and then they've dropped. So we're just gonna like dig into the price action for the day. This is the 23rd. Okay. So first things first, let's take a look at 10 o'clock right here. So London, we've gone down. The London lows have already been taken out. The London high is up here. And actually, let's do this because something that I have a bad habit of not paying attention to. So that's the yesterday's high right there. And then I'm just gonna do this. Oops. to touch the control before I touch it. And then yesterday's low. And let me just save this. And it should be to the right. And that one can be on the bottom. And let's create a template for that. Save. Okay. All right, so let's drop down to the 15-minute again. Just so we have like points of references. So that's yesterday's high and low. Okay. So at London, we did nothing with the high and the low. So New York, we're 10 miles away from that. So most likely we'll be coming down here. So let's dive down into the 5-minute for the 10 o'clock. Okay, let's focus on the spot. So what do we have in this general vicinity of grossness? Okay, so we've been dropping. Right here we have a shift. So as we're coming into New York, we have this fair value gap on the 5-minute. Well, okay, so hold on. So this one, okay, wait. So we have high, higher high, shifted through. Huh. Does that mean I had a breaker here? Why, yes, it did. So we have a bearish breaker right here. And right inside of that bearish breaker is a very small, oopsie, right there, fair value gap. So I'm not going to care too much about this one right now. All right, so high, higher high, shifted through. We have a bearish breaker on the 5-minute, fair value gap right here. Let's drop down to a 1-minute. And actually, I'm going to just move this way so I don't have to scroll too far back. All right, so let's drop to a 1-minute. Now, what do we have inside of this space? All right, so inside of the breaker, fair value gap, we have an order block right there. So if I were not necessarily a gambling woman, if I was looking for an entry right there, 8 ticks up there, because I want my to be right above here. A little scary with this above it. But a lot of this has been rebalanced. So they'd have to take this high out to reach up this way. And 8 ticks of a stop right there. And then if I was just aiming for yesterday's low. Okay, that would have given us 44 ticks. Okay, so for funsies, can we go down to 30 second in here? Okay. So in the 30 second, we also had a volume imbalance right there. All right. Good for a particular entry. What time is this? 10 a.m. They wicked right up to it. Right up. Pew. Boom. So I could have been waiting for that breaker. 10 a.m. gave me the opportunity. Otherwise, there's not much exciting going on. Shift, fair value gap here, order block above here. Okay, looks like Kitty is ready to get on the lap. There you go. Enjoy that moment as he decides what he wants to do. You comfy, buddy? He's slowly gaining back weight after his health debacles. So let's do this. You can see some of him and some of me. All right, so this is a 30 seconds. Let's drop down to a 15 second. I guess we can't go down to 15 seconds, but 30 seconds is not bad to give us something to work with. Huh. And do we have something else in this time frame that could have worked as well besides the breaker? All right, let's take a look here. So we had this mean wick here, 10 o'clock. Then we had this drop. So fun fact, right? I already take it. We take out that low, that low, that low, that low. And prior to this, we hadn't really taken out any highs. So wick up would sort of made sense for that moment. And then do we have like a clear, decent potential? So in terms of clear, decent potentials, shift here, all of this taken, come into some of this wick, shift right here, and now for like a just decent, normal entry. High, higher high, shift it through. So we have like a breaker on the 30 second, sorry. Bearish break on the 30 second, the fair value gap. So if I were to take it midway through the breaker, 8 ticks, I want to be above this high. Is there enough space for like, oh, he's just back and forth, isn't he? To make it down. Because it did go down a bit. 78 ticks. What was all the way down there? Because I didn't take a look at like this way. Because this would put us into a so fair value gap. This would put us into a discount down here. But let's see. Just curious if they go down further. Yeah, look at that. No, so that would have been a nice. This happened like 9 p.m. But you know, if the aim was for this 1 hour fair value gap down here that hadn't been touched, you know, could have held that for the whole. When did we get through it? 3 o'clock. Could have held that for the whole day. Let's take a look at the afternoon session really quickly. Because the thing is, we're in. Okay, so we're in a big discount here. That's quite a hold. That would have been like, what? That's quite a return on that one. I mean, I personally would have been okay with just holding for that. 186 ticks. How long did that take to play out? The entries here, we would have had to sit through all of this foolishness. Oof, 5 hours, man. That's a lot of time. All right, so then, and then it didn't actually get taken until 3:36. So that had been on the same day? No. So I wouldn't have held that long. I'd have been trying to get to here. And that happened in the afternoon session. 124 ticks is not bad though. But we gotta get to the point where we are comfortable enough. So that would have taken 3 hours and 29 minutes of gross meandering and annoying and blah blah blah. All right, so for the 2 o'clock session now, what do we have? High, higher high, traded through very, very clearly. So we had another breaker right there. So we had another bearish breaker right here in the afternoon session, along with this fair value gap breaker. That still needed to be rebalanced, but if I look to the right of it, it's not by itself. So this rebalanced all of this. So no real reason for it to come back up here. And let's take a look at it on the 30 second. Oops, 1 minute. back in here. We had to reach this thing, so let's take a look at 30-second. Oh, all the things you catch, right? And we have a volume imbalance in this space, which is what it tapped into. Because this is already balanced. If you look at this, right? This is balanced. This was the original shift. They busted through it, balanced this BISI, buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, and then dropped. Mm. And the only real imbalance right here, besides the breaker, inside of the breaker really, was this guy. Wow. Let's take that off. So then set at the base of this guy, because you know they're going to come back down. And I want to be above that portion. Probably, I want to be above the breaker, basically. So could I have gotten 8 ticks above the breaker? Yeah. And then ridden it down to this thing. I mean, just tapping it is good. Let's see, consequent crouchment, like midway. Excuse me. Would have been 91 ticks. And then if I dropped let's go back up to the 1 minute to do this. I dropped a fib on this. And by the way, let's drop a fib on here. And we're aiming to see how far into this thing we can get, approximately. Oh, sorry, it's not the price leg. It's the price leg right there. So it came right up almost to optimal trade entry. Took out these highs, okay, and tapped into that breaker just a tad, and then just fell down, just fell out. Never made it to 1 standard deviation there, but I was measuring, it has to go back into a premium for the entry to make sense. If I had used this high and this low coming into here, though, I mean, 2 standard deviations, and I'm gonna sneeze. I apologize, y'all. Just a minute here. And that coincides with consequent encroachment of this, approximately this area is the closest one. So voila, boom, beautiful, just beautiful. So now I'm gonna spend a lot of time working with the live data and trying to like predict before I bring this back up. As I said, there will be no removing. If I cannot make it work, then I should not be trading. But I can make it work when I am able to do this. So why wouldn't I? Okay. So that gave us something like right at 2 o'clock. Beautiful. And then this gave us something, an opportunity, if you looked closely at the price action and what you're waiting for them to come back up. Beautiful. Right there. This one, you gotta wait though. You gotta wait a bit. If you're just aiming for this high for the morning session, 44 ticks right there, done and dusted. If you are waiting for this, we still had the breaker. Did they come all the way up to almost back up to the breaker again? Or just to the voids up here? If I didn't take the 40, I wouldn't have gotten the 40 ticks here. And then I would have been stopped out right there if I'd kept this open. I wouldn't though, because once it started turning, I would just close it because that's ridiculous. So this morning was very choppy and weird and probably not the best to touch anyway. Shot back out. But we're at a very, very serious premium. And look at it. It's just... So probably would have left that alone. The afternoon actually gave us some proper things to play with. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do one more. So let's get up out of there. Let's clean up our drawings. Let's go back up to the daily. Let's pick another day. Not a recent day because which day was this? Friday? Okay. Let's see how we could have like handled the Friday. Let's repay after my Thursday debacle of silliness. Days like this, when I see it forming like this, I should just walk away and just have a good old time. Like if it's forming like this, it's just gonna chop you up. Just chop chop. You want this day, you want this day, you want this day, you want that day, you want that day, you want that day, but you don't want this day. All right, let's dig down into the 15 minutes. So we know it's an up day. And so London was neutral. And I'm going to find the midnight open. So midnight opens approximately around there. Midnight open. And where is 0 GMT actually? Where's 8 o'clock? Oh, 0 GMT is approximately in the same place. Approximately. Okay, so London was just hanging out. It did a little something something, dropped just a bit below, meandered about, and then rose. And then at the 6:15 time, we had a shift here. So bullish. Let's dive down into the 5 minute and take a look at the 10 o'clock time frame. Okay, and see. So we've already been super bullish right here. And just before 10 o'clock, we had this fair value gap that had been traded down into. And we had order blocks and what else? You know what? Let's go back to the daily because I keep forgetting to add the previous day's high and low on everything. So let's do yesterday's high here and yesterday's low there. Okay, let's go back down to the 5 minute and let's take a look. Okay, so before before 10 o'clock, we'd already taken out the previous day's high. So that should feel pretty bullish, right? We've been driving upwards, so it's a very obviously bullish day. Let's go down to the 1 minute on the 10 o'clock time frame. Okay, what did we have that we could have used? And I'm gonna move this over this way so I don't have to keep digging in. But so we had this stuff right here. We had this shift, nice. And at the 10 o'clock time frame, we had this fair value gap. And they dipped back down, took this out, and then, can we get down to a 30-second? Because then the first fair value gap formed at 10 o'clock right there. And then I would have had to put my stop under here. So if I were to take a long entry from here, it's the order block. Ugh, that's too many ticks. Don't like it. Now, decent move though. Okay, so let's drop down to a 30-second and see what else they gave us during this time. If they gave us something more juicy. Okay, so in the 30 seconds, we had the shift. And then, okay. So on the 30 seconds, I'm just going to refine this down to this. We have this tiny volume imbalance down here. So with the shift, volume imbalance, my preference would have been for an entry here. Could I have gotten my 8 tick, because this would have been after all this, 8 tick stop without too much drama? It's below this low right here. And is it below, hold on, just make sure that we've got things right. So this price leg right here, it's at optimal trade entry for this price leg too. So I have, and the fair value gap that's so close to it, bullish order block, low, lower low, trade it through. Technically, all of this is a breaker. the bullish breaker, all of that's a bullish breaker. So inside of this bullish breaker, we had this guy order block right inside of here. So this would have been where I would have needed to have the entry. I need to make sure that my stop is below. I would have probably tried to make sure it was below these lows because this is already wicked and taking that out. There's no reason for them to come back down. Not to mention that this is a balanced price range. If we had a fair value gap here, look to the right, all that. We've balanced it out here. And we're bullish, so I don't really expect it to go any higher. So then let's drop off to a 1 hour because I want to see where we're heading, right? So if this is the 10 o'clock time frame, this is 10 o'clock, and I've got relative equal highs right here. So I'm also some buy side right here, right? Some buy side all the way up there. And do we have like a fair value gap or something? We already had this high up here that I was thinking about 42, 44. But let's assume we're heading all the way up there. And do we have like a fair value gap that hasn't been touched? So we have this one up here. This high. And there's this one. So from this shift, I would have been wanting to potentially gravitate to this one because of the shift. I'm bullish, but I want to like get my money and go. You know what I'm saying? Not mean, right? Because we have the shift here, higher shifted through. So we have a breaker in here. So I'm expecting it to react in this general vicinity. All right, let's go back down to 1 minute right here. So if this is what I'm aiming for, right? You always have to have somewhere you're going, right? So if you're bullish and you're aiming for that, right? And this guy, 42, the next thing that's right next to it is 42.1150. What's the high on this one? 42.1125, and the high of this one is 42.1175. So if my aim was here, because I could have just been like, just give me all of that. 102, good, taken care of, done. Fib is saying, potentially I can get this much. And this candle would have delivered that beautifully. Woo! And the entry, the entry is on the 30-second. The volume imbalance is sitting on the 30-second, along with the breaker. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And they've already taken out these lows, rebalanced this, so no need to come back into it. These are breakaways as far as I'm concerned, because we're bullish, we're heading up, we're not doing anything. And this wick, they'd have to take it out for me to feel like they're continuing into this thing. They chose not to. So I would have taken this entry, been okay. I probably should put it here, right under the wick, or at least consequent encroachment of the wick. It's approximately about there, so right about there. It's about 11 ticks of a stop to deal with. And then ridden it all the way up. Once it broke that out, did it give us another opportunity? Why, yes, it did. So after all of this, we have another shift. We didn't like that entry. We have this one right here. Did it get back to this order block? Probably think about this one right up here instead, right? So now we have this high and a fair value gap. Slowly starting to see it. So if this high and a fair value gap right there, beautiful. And then you could be below, like your 8 ticks could be right below this order block right here approximately. And then you could have ridden that up to there, 89 ticks. Still a very nice haul. Lots to practice. Lots I don't know about order block theory. And Lots I've been missing. So much. So I'm gonna take a pause from actually like hitting the button. I'm gonna tape read and I'm just gonna pay attention to how the days are forming. It was a craptastic day. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. You can tape read it. Don't touch it. But if it looks like it's going to be a nice day, there's a clear bias, do it. Honestly, that just makes me feel so much better, Just thinking about it like that. And just last week, I was just so very stressed about it. And that's not where I want to be, right? You don't want to be stressed about these things. You want to be calm, cool, and collected. Trust your risk management. Wow. Learning so much. Learning so much. All right, guys. I'm going to call this backtesting session to a halt for now. I need to start my actual workday. So be safe. Or out here, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's choppy. It's crazy. Be safe. All right. Well, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you would take a look at these lower time frames, the seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 10 seconds. Like I'm going to be using them. I was like, this thing, at 10. I'm like, that's it. It's on the 15 seconds. It's on the 10 second. It's on the 30 second. Crazy. Crazy. You got to make sure that it can give us up to 10 handles in those runs. It has to. All right. So drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts, okay? Let me know if you feel comfortable even touching those seconds charts. But I mean, clear entries if you know what you're looking for. All right, guys. Be safe. Shakira out.